Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello, runners. How are you? I hope you are fine as usual. So you're welcome to biology lesson. So I'm Teacher Claude. We are going to see lesson number 2 of unit number 9. Unit number 9 is nervous coordination. And then the lesson of today is about the structure, types, and functions of neuron. So I hope you will be ready to follow explanation, and then you write some explanation in your notebook. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the structure, types, and function of the neuron. You will be to know what are the structures of neuron, what is the type of the neuron, and then the function of the neurons. So when we talk about neurons, what's that? What's a neuron? A neuron is also called nerve cell. And then we can say it's the functional unit of the nervous system. What the activity the nervous system do, those nerve or neuron, they are involved because they are the one that are used to carry information. So those neurons, they are distributed in every part of the body. They are there just to carry the message, either the message from sensory cells to the central nervous system, or to carry also the response from the central nervous system to different parts of the body, to the effectors. So those are nerve cells. Neurons are cells specialized to generate and transmit nerve impulse, as I have seen. They are the one that transmit the nerve impulse. This nerve impulse is also called action potential. It is also called the message. So you can ask what message is going to be carried. As we have talked about the stimuli. When the stimuli are detected by our receptor cells, they have to be changed into the impulse that can be transferred to the central nervous system. So remember, central nervous system is composed by what? By the brain and the spinal cord. If central nervous system receives that information, it has also to respond. If it responds, the information also is going to be transmitted by nerve cells, called also neurons. So those are what you call neurons. They do actually transmit the nerve impulse, which is also called action potential. From where? From either to sensory cells to central nervous system, or from central nervous system to the sensory cells. So now we have types of neurons. Neurons are grouped according to the number of the process they possess, or to their structure. So according to the structure, so we have 3 types of neuron. We have what you call unipolar neurons, bipolar neurons, multipolar neurons. How they are different? Unipolar neurons are those neurons which has one process only. They do found mostly in invertebrates. There is one process. So we're going to see what is that process. And then bipolar neurons, they have 2 separated processes. That's why they're called bipolar, means 2. Bipolar neurons. So those bipolar neurons, they do mostly found on the retina of the eye. So they are there just to carry the information to the brain. So these bipolar neurons, they are found on the retina of the eye. So we have multipolar neurons. So multipolar means they have more than 2 processes. So they are mostly found in the vertebrates. So in the body of vertebrates, including human being. So we have three types of neurons according to their structure, their processes. So we have unipolar, bipolar, and the multipolar neurons. So you can see them on the structure. You can look on the screen. So this one is my multipolar neuron. Why? So you see it has these many dendrites. They are very many. And then this axon. And then this is cell body. And those are terminal axons. So this is multipolar neurons because it has many processes. The process we are talking about, it can be this, from this to this, from this to this, from this side, from this dendrite to this. You see? From this, message can come like this and then pass through this axon. It can also come on this direction to pass on this side. So this is what you call multipolar neuron. You see the structure? It has many dendrites and these axons. So we have bipolar neuron. It has two processes. Process number one is this, because this is cell body, and then another process is this. So we have the two processes. The process we are talking about is this on this side, and this on the other side. So this is bipolar neuron. It is found where? It is found on the retina. So now we have also unipolar neuron. It has a single process, one process. You see, this is, we can say, this is cell body, and then this is the axon. So we have this one process. And this, even it has one dendrite. It has the one dendrite. It is one. And those are terminal axons. So those are types of neurons according to their structure. I hope you have caught something. According to their structure, neurons are divided into three types. We have unipolar, bipolar, and multipolar neurons. So you can see how they are different. Now, we can classify neurons according to their function. According to their function, neurons are divided into three types. So as you see on the screen, we have sensory neuron. Sensory neuron is also called afferent neurons. Those sensory neurons, they do carry information from the receptors to the central nervous system. That's why they are called sensory. They do carry information from sensory cells or sensory receptor to the central nervous system. For example, if there is light, remember to see when you want to look on the object, there is light that's come from the object. That light is going to be received by receptors called photoreceptor, found on the retina. And then from there, the impulse is going to be changed into electrical impulse. And that electrical impulse is going now to be transmitted to the brain. So which part that transmits that impulse is what you call sensory neuron. They are located on the every part of the body in the sensory cells. They are there to carry information to the central nervous system. We have also what you call interneurons. They are also called intermediate, or you can also call it associate or relay neuron. So they do connect sensory and motor neurons, sensory and motor impulses. So it is a connection between the sensory and the motor neurons. So they are found mainly in the central nervous system. Those interneurons, they are found in the central nervous system. They are there just to connect the impulse that comes from sensory receptor, and then the impulse that will come from the central nervous system. So the third is what you call motor neuron. Motor neuron is also called efferent neuron. It transmits the impulse from the central nervous system to the effectors, you see? Because when sensory neuron, as you have seen, when they transport this information from receptor to the central nervous system, also central nervous system has to respond. If it responds, that information is going to be carried by what? By what you call motor neuron. They do carry information from central nervous system to effectors. Effectors like muscle and glands. So to carry out the response. Because the brain, it coordinates. For example, if it is, let's give you an example. Suppose it is very cold in the morning when you wake up. And then the receptor, we call it thermoreceptor, they have to detect that there is a coldness. And then after, they generate what? The message, the impulse. To send where? To the brain. Why the message is going to be sent to the brain is to ask brain, what can I do? Because now it is coldness. Then that information is going to be carried to the brain by neuron called sensory neurons. And then when the message reaches to the brain, what's brain is going to do? Brain is going to interpret what's the problem. What's the problem? Then brain prepare the response. And then that response is going to be carried by motor neuron, then come to the effector, to the organs. And then, for example, brain can order you to wear the coat. You wear the coat because it is the coldness. So you don't say you wear the coat because you want. That comes from your part called brain. Brain is the one that gives you that response. Also, brain can order you to drink hot drinks. Because remember, when you drink hot drinks, it can now help you to be warmed. Are you getting this? So this is the classification of neuron according to their function. We have three types. We have sensory neuron, which is also called afferent neuron. We have interneurons. It is also called relay neuron or associated neuron. The third one is motor neuron. Are you getting this? Okay, nice. So now, this is sensory neuron. This is the structure of the sensory neuron. Those parts, they are called dendrites. And this is the cell body. And those ones, they are called axon terminals. And this is axon. So when the information comes from the body, it has to pass through the dendrites. From the dendrite, the information has passed to the axon. And then from the axon, the message can be transmitted to the other neurons, because we have many neurons in the brain, in our body. You have millions of nerve cells. And then that information has to be carried along the neuron until it reaches to the brain. So this is motor neuron. Motor neuron. This is cell body. Those are dendrites, as I have said. And this is the axon, where information, when it comes from this cell, these dendrites, it passes here into the cell body. From the cell body, it can pass through the axon. Then from the axon, you see here we have the muscle fibers. It can reach into the muscle, and then you can get the response. So now, this is intermediate neuron, where it will have this cell body, and those are the dendrites. So they have different structures. So before I explain the function of each part of the neuron, I can remind you classification of neurons according to their structure. Their structures. Can you remind me what you have seen about this? Can you try? According to their structure, We have unipolar neuron. We have bipolar neuron. We have multipolar neurons. So this unipolar neuron, it has a single process, one process. Do you remember? And then bipolar, it is called bipolar because it has two processes. Multipolar has many processes, more than two processes. And then according to their function, we have, according to their function, we have sensory. Sensory is also called, how do you call it? It is also called afferent neuron. And then you have also interneurons, interneuron. It is also called associated. It has many names, associated or relay. You can also call it relay neuron. And then lastly, we have motor neuron. So how they are different? So this sensory, we have seen that they do carry information from receptor cells to the what? To the central nervous system. If you have any problem on your body, that problem is going to be received by sensory receptor and then sent to the what? To the brain, so that the brain can respond to you. What can you do? So just to protect you. And then we have this interneuron which connect what? The sensory and motor neuron. Motor neuron is also called efferent. So then motor neuron will bring the response from the central nervous to the what? To the effectors. And then, what's the function of the parts of the neuron structure? It has cell body. What's the function of cell body? Cell body has a number of processes called dendrons. And then the fine terminal branches are called dendrites. This is what I have seen. So what's the role of this cell body? It coordinates the nerve cell activity and makes protein for the growth of the nerve cells. Actually, cell body, it makes the protein that can help the nerve cells to grow. Even to coordinate the nerve cell activity is coordinated by this cell body. Are you getting this? You can ask, where is cell body? It is this side, cell body. And then, the second part is what you call axon. Axon, you can see on the diagram, this is axon. This is axon. So what's the role of this axon? Axon transmits the impulse away from the cell body. Away from the cell body. So that it can be reached to the brain. It contains axoplasma, surrounded by axon membrane, known as the axomembrane. This is the membrane of axon. So the axon, it has to carry the information, the impulse from the cell body to away from of that side. Then we have synaptic knobs. Synaptic knobs, it is actually on this side, you can see synaptic knob where two neurons can meet. Is what you call synapse. Then you have what you call synapse knob. So what's the function of this synaptic knob? They contain many mitochondria and this endoplasmic reticulum and synaptic vesicles filled with the neurotransmitter. Those neurotransmitters, they are the one that can help the impulse to be transmitted. They trigger, they stimulate the passage of impulse from one neuron to another neurons. Those are the synaptic knob. We have also what you call myelin sheath. Myelin sheath, I will show you on the diagram, it contains what you call myelin, lipids. These lipids, they do act as electrical insulator. So when the message is passing through the neurons, it has to be carried quickly. So to increase the speed of the impulse along the neuron, those myelin sheaths, they are there just to insulate the impulse as the impulse is now passing. We shall come back on this when I explain how the information is going to be transported. So it acts as electrical insulator and prevent movement of ion through it. We have also what you call Schwann cells. Schwann cells actually is the one that secrete these myelin sheaths. Schwann cells are located at the regular intervals within their membranes. So the role of Schwann cell is to secrete the myelin sheath. We have now node of Ranvier. Node of Ranvier propagates the nerve impulse and speed up their transmission. This is the role of this node of Ranvier. We have now terminal dendrites transmit nerve impulse to the effector organs. Terminal dendrite. It has to carry this information to effector organs. Now let's see on diagram those parts. So we have seen this cell body. Remember the role of the cell body is just to control the nerve fiber activities, even to make the protein that can ensure the growth of nerve cells. Then we have this axon. We have seen that the axon, they do carry information away from the cell, but if the impulse comes, it has to be carried along the axon. So we have seen also what you call this Schwann cell. Those are Schwann cells. Those cells, they are called Schwann cells. What's the role of this Schwann cell is to produce what you call myelin. Here inside, we have myelin here. If the impulse is coming and then pass through here, what's going to happen? Because these myelin, they do insulate the impulse. So the impulse can pass at a high speed here. So now we have this node. You see, it is a node here. We have another node here. Node. This is a node. This is what you call node of Ranvier. So what's the role of this node of Ranvier? It's just to speed the transmission of the impulse. Because when the message is coming from here, and when it reaches here, it's going to jump. When it jumps, it can increase the speed. Are you getting this? If you move slow like this, it will be different as you can move like this, moving like this. So it can increase your speed. So when the message reaches on one node of Ranvier, because it is a node, so the impulse can now jump to the next one. Are you getting this point? So this is the role of this node of Ranvier. It's just to increase the speed of the impulse. The impulse can impulse by what? Is what you call saltatory movement. The impulse moves by jumping. And then that one also can be triggered by this myelin sheath that insulates the impulse. Are you getting the point? And then finally, we have now what you call this dendrite terminal or axon terminals. And they are the one that will take the information that have been carried by the axon and then take this information to the effector. Are you getting this? Effector, as I have said, those are muscles and the glands. Because they are the one that get the problem, and then they are the one that has supposed to be the change of the response has to carry out on the effectors. Are you getting that? So, for example, if you see electricity, when you touch on the electricity, what's going to happen? You can get the injury, but the message is going to be transferred to the brain. First of all, it is going to pass through the cell body, and then axon. In the axon, you have those parts called myelin sheath. that can help the impulse to be insulated, and then node of Ranvier. And then finally, when the message reaches to the effector on your muscles, you have to remove your finger from the electricity. So we shall see this. We shall see this in the details. I hope you have get something. So you'll be able now to. So this one we shall see this by next time. How is it the next lesson? The mechanism of transmission of the nerve impulse along the axon. It is very wonderful. You shall see. We shall see this by the next time. So, as I have said, we have the factor that can affect the transmission of the nerve impulse. When the impulse is now passing across the axon membrane, so which can cause the impulse to be carried at the high speed. We have the diameter of what? Of the axon. If the axon has the greater diameter, what's going to happen? This increases the fast speed of the transmission of the nerve impulse because now the diameter is large. So the impulse can now pass quickly. Are you getting that point? Now, the diameter. So if the diameter is thin, what's going to happen? The message will pass slowly. So the one factor that can increase the nerve impulse to be carried quickly, we have this large diameter. Then myelin shift. As I have said, these myelin shift, they are there just to increase the fast movement of what? Of the impulse. Myelinated neurons conduct impulse faster than non-myelinated neurons. You know, actually they are like lipids. They are going to, when the impulse is there on this cell in the axon, and then it is going to be insulated. When it is insulated, it can now move faster. So another one is the presence of node of Ranvier. So as I have said, node of Ranvier speed up the movement of the impulse. So this one we have seen. So now, at the end, you are going to have this homework. So make sure you do it. So you will describe the types of the neuron, all types of the neuron, according to their structure and function. And then make sure you draw. So then you will explain the mechanism of nerve impulse transmission across the axon. This is what you have to revise. We shall see this next time. So, but you have to try to read it so that when I come, you have an idea on this. But this we have already seen. So I can say goodbye, and then we shall meet by next time. Hope you are going to continue revising. Bye-bye.